Hello! We are here today to talk about money and business. Business and money. And I think this is something that is such an important topic to dive into. And I'm excited to share with you my biggest lessons about money from building 2 six-figure online businesses. I'm also excited to share my answers to your most pressing questions about money. So here we go. My name is Christine McAllister. I am the founder of Life with Passion, and I help high-achieving women quit and stay out of their 9-to-5s by building businesses that they love. I would love to know who you are. So say hello in the comments, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, and tell me what you're working on and where you're watching from. So Heather says, I'm here. Hey, Heather. Hi, Kalila. So good to see you. Let's talk money, right? Let's talk about money, because I think that a lot of times we get so up in our heads about money. We get so stressed about money. We give so much meaning and so much importance and so much stress and obsession to this thing called money. And that can actually really make it hard to build a business. But we also want to own that money is important, right? And say, yeah, okay, I need money to build a business. I need money to quit my job. I need money to do these things. So how do we find that balance? How do we work with money in a way that feels good? How do we allow ourselves to make money, to ask for the sale, to get paid, to work with paying clients, all of these things that we desire, right? Without driving ourselves totally crazy and without stressing the heck out. Be sure to say hi if you're just joining, live or on the replay. Hey, Nancy. Hi. Beautiful. So money is the very first thing that most of us are stressed about when we're building our businesses, right? There's Pogo's, wait, over here. Pogo's tail. Pogo's saying hi. It's the thing that we're most stressed about. If we're wanting to quit our jobs, it's the thing that, that's the first thing that comes to mind, right? Like, it's the biggest reason we don't quit. I don't know how I'm going to replace my income. I haven't done that yet, so I can't quit. Like, whatever the case is, we feel like money is most top of mind. And there's a reason for that. I got to be honest and share with you a little bit of my story with money. And that is that for most of my life, just that word caused me to tense up in my shoulders, give me major anxiety, and send me right into fight or flight mode. And I wonder if there's anybody else here who can identify with that. Like, it would make thinking about money would make my stomach hurt. It would keep me up at night. Whether I had a lot or a little, I always felt anxious about money. Whether I was in debt or not in debt, I always felt anxious about money. One of the things that I have learned is that we pick up, whether intentionally or unintentionally from the people around us, most of our thoughts about money by the time we're between 6 and 8 years old. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. Welcome. Heather says anxiety. Totally. So we pick up these ideas about money when we're really young. And early in my life, I picked up the story and the belief that there was never enough to go around. There was never enough. And then I began to equate that with my own self-worth, that somehow I wasn't enough either. There was never enough money and I wasn't enough. Even when I became a successful entrepreneur, no matter how much money I made, this belief stuck with me and kept me from taking risks for years. It kept me from investing in myself for years. And what that led to was me getting really stuck and not knowing what to do to further build my business, because I felt like I had to figure it out all by myself, all on my own, for free, by the way. And I call this superwoman syndrome. And I wonder if you can relate to that, this idea of being a superwoman, where you're like, maybe you've been there before, maybe you're there right now. I got to figure it all out on my own, and I got to figure it out for free. Otherwise, it means I'm not smart. Somehow we equate that in our minds. Otherwise, it means I'm not capable. Otherwise, it means I'm not efficient. Otherwise, it means I'm not a good business person. And
That was my story for a long, long, long time. Is it yours too? Has it ever been yours too? What I see so often with the women I talk to on a daily basis and with the clients I work with around the world is that a lot of times they know that they have an interest in doing something to build their business. They have an interest in learning something new. They have an interest in getting support to do something new. But a lot of times they tell themselves a story that they're not allowed to do that because of the superwoman syndrome, right? So like in my case, it was, I want to build a business that has more freedom. I want to build a business that makes more income. But I'm not allowed to do that unless I can figure it out on my own and for free. And so I told myself that story for several years to the point where I almost burnt out and just said, it's got to be easier to maybe get a real job, even though I knew that wasn't what I was meant for. Okay. And so I stressed and strived and obsessed and looked for ways to do my business better. This is my first business, my online marketing business, where I was working all the time and I was successful and I was booked out, but I couldn't figure out a way to make more money doing it, right? And I was checking emails from the bathroom and I was working all through family vacations. And like, I was totally obsessed and invested in my clients' success, but I was not seeing how I could make myself more successful. And that's just me being real and vulnerable with you guys. That's where I was. That's where I was when I was pregnant with Maeve and I was going, I don't know how I'm going to do this and have a baby, right? And I was very stressed about it. On one hand, I was like, oh, I'm going to figure it out somehow. And then on the other hand, I was like, yeah, but how, right? So I think the point here is that for me, I came to the realization after I lost Maeve and I was starting to get really, really honest about my life. I was starting to get really, really honest about the things in my life and the stories that I've been telling myself and what I, didn't have that I wanted, that I had control over, right? I realized that if I had known what to do on my own, I would have done it already, right? Because I was a capable person. Like when I had a clear plan and I had accountability to follow through on that plan, and it wasn't just something else that I had pinned to my pin board or another article about procrastination or productivity that I was like, those are great tips. Maybe this will be the thing that fixes me, right? I realized I was going to burn out if I didn't get some help, and I was never going to be any more successful than I was at that point. Sure to say hi if you're joining. Hey, Meryl, good to see you. So if you've been a part of this community, if you've been following me for a while, and you're feeling stuck, frustrated, and wondering what you're doing wrong, wondering why you're not making more money, wondering why you're still stressed and obsessed about money, I want you to know that I get it. I have been there. And my question for you is, are you getting support to deal with the things that are holding you back, to help you uncover what's really going on and to help you overcome that superwoman syndrome? Am I the only one who had superwoman syndrome as a high achiever? Or are there others of you out there who are like, yep, I totally own that. Like I was that stubborn girl going, I gotta figure out what to do and I have to figure it out for free. Because that was a part of my money story, is that like I had to figure out everything in my business for free. When I lost Maeve, I decided that I was going to take a real look and say, oh my gosh, I spent all this money on my education. I took out student loans. I worked hard to get scholarships. I did this. I did that. I got an undergrad degree. I got a graduate degree. Tens and tens and tens of, thousands of dollars. Tens and tens and tens and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars later. What did it get me? Right? I mean, yes, I was a hard worker. Yes, I had done really well in some jobs, all the while knowing my desire was to start my own business. Yes, I had started my own business, but like those things did not teach me how to be successful. Spending all of that money did not teach me how to be successful. And so I realized that successful entrepreneurs take calculated risks. This is a huge lesson for me. Successful entrepreneurs take calculated risks and invest in order to make a return. That's a big, big money lesson that you can take away right now. Successful entrepreneurs take calculated risks and they invest to make a return on their money, right? So where are you investing? Otherwise, you're just going to be trading dollars for hours, and you're not ever going to be able to grow beyond trading those dollars for hours. If you have been an employee for a while, you don't know how to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. Nobody trained you to be an entrepreneur. You might hear me talk about this a lot. Like, we're trained to be really good employees, right? Not entrepreneurs. So then when we have a desire to be an entrepreneur, we have a knowledge gap just because we haven't done it. But then we go back to that superwoman syndrome and we're like, well, I should know how to do this, or else it means that I'm not meant for it. And if I don't know how to do it for free, that means there's something wrong with me because I might have to spend money to learn it. But we didn't think about spending all this money on our education, right? Like on our formal education. So big money lesson for me was that it was okay for me to invest to learn something that I needed to learn to grow my business and to grow myself, because bettering myself in that way was how I was going to then grow my business. So I want to share with you this really powerful article. You can look it up if you want. It's called Want to Become a Multimillionaire? Do These 14 Things Immediately. It's by a guy named Benjamin P. Hardy. And after this is over, I'd be happy to put it in the comments if you want me to. Drop me a comment and let me know if you want me to put this link. Hi, Emily. Hi, Caitlin. And this article is fantastic. So Benjamin Hardy studied multimillionaires, billionaires, and found the common traits that they had, right? And put together this really well-researched article. Want to become a multimillionaire? Do these 14 things immediately, okay? The number one thing is something that I have found to be so true over the past 2.5 years as I've been on this journey of building life with passion. The number one thing. Are you ready? The number one thing to do if you want to become a multimillionaire is to invest at least 10% of your income in yourself. What? Invest at least 10% of your income in yourself. I see Kalila and Emily saying, put the article link in the comments. Okay, I totally will. Here is what he has to say. Invest at least 10% of your income in yourself. It's the number one thing to do if you want to become a multimillionaire. And I got to tell you, this has been the biggest shift for me to build a 6-figure business so much faster the second time around than when I was playing the business guessing game and trying to do it all by myself. He says, if you don't pay for something, you rarely pay attention. Most people want stuff that's free, but if you take something for free, you rarely prize that thing. You rarely take it seriously. Think about it. All the freebies that you've downloaded, have you gone through them? Have you implemented them, right? He says, how much do you invest in yourself? How committed are you to yourself? If you aren't investing in yourself, then you don't have any skin in the game of your own life. What? Dogs are wrestling. Pogo, come. I feel like this is a big part of any live stream that I have. Whenever I get excited, the dogs pick up on my energy and they immediately start wrestling, which turns into a very loud situation very quickly. So excuse me while I shut this down. Pogo, come. Hey. They also like to ignore me. Lay down. He's so annoyed right now. All right. If you aren't investing in yourself, then you don't have any skin in the game of your own life. Oh my gosh. That quote for me is like, I'm putting it on my vision board. Okay. If you aren't invested in your business, you probably won't do high quality work because again, you don't have any skin in the game. It's easy to walk away. When it comes to self-improvement, investing 10% of your income on yourself will yield a 100x or more return on that investment. For every dollar you spend on your education, skills, and relationships, you'll get at least $100 back in returns. What? For every dollar you spend on your education, skills, and relationships, you'll get at least $100 back in return. If you want to do something extremely well, you need to surround yourself with the right mentors. Anything that you'll ever do well will be the result of high quality mentoring. If you suck at something, it's because you haven't received quality mentoring in that thing. It's only when you invest in something that you have the motivation to make it happen. It's only when you invest in something that you have the motivation to make it happen. You guys, this is my biggest money lesson. This is my biggest money lesson. And so I really want you to hear that. I will drop the link to this article in the comments. Heather says, oh my gosh, my dog does that too. I just wrote it down. I love that. Meryl says, does he mean 10% of my current income, 10% a year? Meryl, he does not specify. But I think that you can decide what that looks like for you, right? I think you can decide what that looks like for you. It could be 10% of the amount you want to make. It could be 10% of, of your goal income or of your current income. I think you can decide how to apply that and what feels good for you. But here's the takeaway. All of the entrepreneurs that we admire have invested heavily in themselves. So the question is, are you investing 10% in yourself right now? If you don't have the results that you want, then this perhaps is the money lesson for you. Then this perhaps is the action step for you. If you don't have the results in your business right now that you want, maybe the action step for you and the challenge that I have for you is to find someone that you admire and trust and invest with them. If you don't have the results that you want, are you investing 10% of your income in yourself and in your business? Now, for me, that changed everything. That changed everything. The difference in running a 6-figure business where I felt like I had hit a ceiling, I was making the same amount year after year, I was stressing, striving, and checking my email in the bathroom all the time. Truth, right? Sorry if that's FYI, but it's true. The truth is, when I saw somebody who had the results that I wanted, who had the income that I wanted, and I said, I'm going to learn from her, and guess what? I'm going to pay to do it. Otherwise, I'm just going to not take her seriously, right? And I'm going to have her help me figure out where I'm letting fear hold me back, where I could increase my profitability, where I could do more work that I actually love, how I can grow my business in such a way that I'm not checking my email in the bathroom anymore, and I'm not working 1 million bajillion hours all the time and burning out and having my family and friends go, why are you working all the time? When I did that, everything started to shift for me. That is the truth. Now, my results were that within 3 weeks of investing with my first coach, my income in my business tripled in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks. You guys, that is insane. I'm moving this a little because the sun's getting a little brighter. Okay, so that was my experience. Now, Life with Passion came out of working with my own first mentor, my own first coach. Every time I have invested, I have made a return on that investment and then some. Sometimes it was immediate. Sometimes it was a little bit longer, right? Because whatever I was investing to learn at that moment, I continue to see dividends from the first coach that I worked with 2.5 years ago, as well as the coach I work with today, right? So all of this stuff, as Heather says, if you invest $1,000, the return will be $100,000, just for math perspective. Thank you, Heather, from the accountant here. I love that. You're the math person here. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. If you invest $1,000, the return will be $100,000 for math perspective. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right. So what questions do you have about this? I want to answer them for you. So please drop them in the comments as you think of them. I want to tell you about some of the beliefs that I uncovered as I shared this huge money lesson, that the biggest lesson that I've learned is to invest in myself rather than to keep trying to figure out everything that I want to know for free, to invest in myself, to find somebody who I felt I could learn from, and to pay them to help me. That is the simplest thing. That is how I've seen the quickest results. That is how you learn to do something in a matter of days, weeks, months, rather than a matter of years. So if you want to quit your job, for instance, figure out how to do it from someone who's done it, right? Pay them to help you do it, because then you have skin in the game. And then you're going to show up for it. And you know they're going to show up for it too, because you trust them and you paid them, right? Simple. Okay. So I want to share some other beliefs, and I want to know if you share these too. When I first started looking into my money story, working on my money beliefs and the fear that I had that there was never going to be enough, like I said, I was shocked to learn that most of our beliefs about money are set for us by the time we're 8 years old, way before we're capable of choosing what would be helpful for us to believe, right? But then most of us continue to live out of those beliefs without ever questioning whether they're actually helping. Like for me, telling myself it's never enough, it's never enough, it's never enough, over and over and over. Was that helping me? No, but I was living it out unconsciously, right? So usually we're living someone else's beliefs about money because we picked them up before we were 8. So we got them from somebody, right? Maybe it's a parent or a grandparent or someone else close to us when we were young. We're not even aware of it. So here are some of the beliefs that I uncovered in my own life. There's never enough money for everything that you want to do. And I have very expensive tastes and did not grow up in a wealthy family. So I told myself that I was wrong because I had those expensive tastes and like I couldn't afford those things, right? So there must be something wrong with me that I liked expensive stuff, but I wasn't allowed to have it because we didn't have the money for it, okay? I also believe that making money was and that you had to sacrifice something else in your life in order to get that. Like if you're going to make a lot of money, then that means you can't have a good family life. Then that means, you're going to be messed up in some other way because you're going to have to sacrifice so much to make money. That was a belief I had. Focusing on making a lot of money means you have to give up something more important, like time with your family. That was another belief I had. I have champagne taste on a beer budget, and that's bad. There must be something wrong with me. It's wrong to buy nice things or spend money on yourself. Only spend money on stuff that's practical. I had that belief. You should only buy something if it's on sale. Horses, which I've always loved my whole life, are a king sport and not for me. That was a belief that I had. I was told that. I loved horses, but it wasn't in our family budget. And so I didn't get to have horses growing up. A belief that I had and come to understand was other people have a lot more money than us. Your friends' families have a lot more money than us. They can do those things. That's not meant for you. You have to make decisions. You can't have everything that you want. Debt is shameful, and you're wrong if you have it. You should always live well under your means. You can have nice things someday, maybe when you retire. Those are some of the things that I grew up believing. Now, maybe those things trigger some things for you. Maybe you can relate, maybe not. Guess what? That's my money story, right? Those are some of the things that I have worked on and still continue to work on every day, but now I'm aware of them so I can shift them, right? And I have found that a lot of those aren't true. They're just not true in my life anymore. I see some of these comments coming in. Heather says that's one of mine. Only buy it if it's on sale. Yeah. And you can decide if they're right for you. But the first thing is noticing that you have them and then going, is that really true? Is that my value? Is that how I want to live my life? So Meryl says the return's not been my experience. I've invested, so I must be doing something wrong. Not necessarily by any means, Meryl. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. There are a lot of pieces here, right? So this is my experience. This is my story, and you're on your own journey. So it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, but I think the question for you to ask is like, what's my next step? What feels right for my next step? Because I think a lot of times, Heather says, OMG, so many of those I was taught, right? So it sounds like we grew up similarly, Heather. So I think a lot of times we just make ourselves feel wrong. We tell ourselves we're doing something wrong, but that is not the case. Like, what if everything is happening for you rather than bad things are happening to you, right? Like, what if you're watching this for a reason to have an aha that you can take away with and feel good about and change some things rather than, walk away feeling wrong, right? Or find a way to make yourself feel bad for what you're learning here today. Caitlin says, I need a truck so badly and I've stopped myself from buying one so I don't have a truck payment in debt. It stinks to feel guilty. Yeah, totally. And I think that, that word debt can be really, really scary for a lot of us. Does anybody else feel like really stressed out by the word debt? And I want to talk a little bit about that too, because that whole conversation has been truly transformational for me and my clients. And so I want to share a little bit about what I have learned on this journey about debt and about what you can take away from that as well. So I'm gonna find my notes here. Got my notes everywhere. All right, here we go. If you are stressing or worrying or obsessing about debt, you're probably feeling stuck, right? You're probably feeling guilt and shame. It doesn't have to be that way, and I'd love to help you shift that now so that you can take productive action from where you are today, from where you are in your business, from where you are in your life, wherever you are today. So often, the way I think we, in particular as women, feel about debt keeps us stuck. I think we view it differently a lot of times than men, especially if we have an interest in starting our own businesses. I think we view it really, really differently than male entrepreneurs do. And so I want to take a stand for us beginning to shift this so that we can change more lives with our work, right? With our work, with our calling, with our passions. Here's the thing. Using debt as a reason to beat yourself up or put pressure on yourself is not helpful. It actually is going to further keep you stuck. It actually is going to, based on what we know about neuroscience, slow you down, make your thinking less creative, make your ideas and your action less productive, and drain your energy. Using it as a reason to put pressure on yourself to work harder, which I think is something a lot of us do, just kind of like, all right, I gotta, bear down and like hustle harder so that I can get myself out of debt because I'm bad for having debt and this is wrong. Like, that is not the approach we want to take to our business. That is a very harsh approach. That is in no way living a life with passion. That is in no way helping us to get unstuck. That is just heavy. Can you feel that? It just feels hard. Kim says, yes, feeling stuck. So what we often do with debt as women is we use it, we personalize it, and we assign a lot of meaning to it, right? We say, okay, if I have debt, that equates to me being a bad person. If I have debt, that means I'm a bad person. If I have debt, that means I made a lot of wrong decisions. Therefore, I can't be trusted. I'm a bad person. If I have debt, it means I'm irresponsible with money. If I have debt, that means I'm not allowed to do things. That means I'm not allowed to spend more money. It means I'm not allowed to get this thing or that thing to grow my business. These are the stories that we tell ourselves. Hang on, I'm going to plug in my phone here. Getting so excited, don't want to cut off anyone. And you guys, drop your questions. Oh, no. Okay, trying to reconnect. Okay, I'm back. Plugged in my computer and charger and it freaked out. All right. If you guys can relate to any of these things, I would love to hear it. I would love to know that I'm not the only one, and I know the other people watching would as well. So, Kim says, growing up, I was always told, want in one hand and in the other, and see which one gets full the fastest. Interesting. I don't know if I really understand that. Might have to have you explain that to me a little bit further, Kim. So, and Kim says, oh yeah, she totally gets that thought of not allowed. So what if we start trusting ourselves and being empowered, telling ourselves, you know what? I am an empowered, 21st century woman, right? And I am allowed to do things and get myself the things that I need to take care of myself and my business, right? My money story is my own, and I know that I'm my greatest asset. So where do I have the opportunity to make a shift right now? If you are feeling in a constant state of stress and pressure and heaviness around money, then rather than continuing that, because it probably hasn't gotten you where you want to be, right? Then maybe instead of attaching your entire self-worth to whether or not you have debt, maybe it's time to detach that and remind yourself that you have inherent worth as a human being. You have your dreams and your passions for a reason. You are here on this planet living where you live with access to the internet and a desire to start an online business for a reason. Could that be your calling? If you believe it's your calling, what are you doing to make it happen? Awesome. Heather says, if you have money in one hand and poo in the other, which can you get faster? The poo, because money is not easy to get. Okay, thank you for explaining that, because it's a new idiom saying for me. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Thanks for explaining that. So yeah, so great. So you remember being told that, right, Kim? So you can start to shift that now. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to remove the charge around it. I want you to diffuse it. I love using EFT for this. I will be glad to drop my favorite money tapping. EFT is tapping, emotional freedom technique. I'll be glad to drop my favorite money videos in the comments if you tell me that and that's something that you want. Let me know. I would love for you to start telling yourself a different story. Something more like this. Wow, I'm really grateful I've had the opportunity to have this money accessible to me when I needed it to build my business, to invest in myself, to pay my bills. Because here's the thing. It's really true, and this is true in my family, that before now, you might have to, in generations past, you might have to pick up and move yourself across the country, or maybe even to a different country or continent in order to give yourself the chance at a better life. As opposed to now, with the internet, being online, you have the opportunity to connect with people, to find yourself the right mentor, to find yourself the right resources, to change everything for you for very little money comparatively and for very little risk, right? Sometimes we might feel like we're actually going to die when we think about money because that fight or flight response is really kicking up for us. But the truth is we're not, right? We're not going to do what my great-grandfather did and pick up great-great-grandfather and pick up and move his entire family in a covered wagon from Michigan to California and then to Texas in search of entrepreneurial success, right? Where we have this photo, and I'll have to find it and share it with you all in Life with Passion Society, of my great-great-grandmother and my great-great-grandfather sitting or standing on the back of a wagon above their children holding shotguns, right? We found this recently on Ancestry.com. My great-grandmother is sitting there, just a little girl on the back of this wagon. Her father had dragged her all across the country. Babies were born along the way, covered wagon style. Oh my gosh, can you imagine, right? In search of a better life. Or even today, you think about somebody who has a passion or a dream of opening a franchise or maybe a retail boutique, with a brick and mortar presence. They've got to go get out a big loan or spend life savings or whatever, make a huge financial risk in order to build their dream. If you're building a business online, comparatively, it just doesn't cost that much. The barrier to entry is so low, But what we're really dealing with, I think, is a little bit of a mindset shift of this whole idea of like, well, I can start a business for free, so I should start it for free always, and I should never spend any money, right? Like I talked about earlier. And also, the fear kicks up and it makes it feel like it's a much, much bigger deal than it is when we actually look at it on paper. Caitlin says, my dad used to say that same thing to me, Kim. Oh my gosh, like I've learned something new today. Thank you for the new wrinkle in my brain. Kim says, love EFT, and yes, I would like to have your scripts. Awesome. I'm going to share with you my favorite videos because I love Brad Yates. So I'm going to share with you my Brad Yates video. Love Brad Yates. You can find him on YouTube. He's my favorite for EFT. So I think I also used to tell myself, like, if, I used to believe that if I wasn't constantly stressing about my money, then if I wasn't using it to keep me up at night to worry about it, then I wasn't going to work hard and I was never going to pay it off. Like I was afraid that if I stopped worrying about it, then I wouldn't ever pay back the debt that I had, my student loans, credit cards, all of that stuff. Here's the truth. Like when I looked at that logically, with the help of my own coach, like what I found was I love to work. I have a strong work ethic. I love my work. I love to show up for it. My tendency is always going to be to work more just because I enjoy it. It's not tied to how much debt I have or don't have. So whether I've been in debt or not, I've always worked and I've always worked hard. So I can look at that and give myself permission to go, look, is it going to feel better to work and not be stressed? Or is it going to feel better to work and be super, super stressed and beating myself up all the time, like whipping myself on the back, going, you're bad, you're wrong, you made some bad choices? What if every choice I have made was to help others learn as well as myself, right? What if some of the reasons that I have been in debt is so I could talk to you about how I was able to change my money story about debt, right? In addition to learning everything that I've learned and clearing this stuff, right? Because we always, always, always learn from the things that are harder more than the things that come to us easily. So these are some of my biggest money stories and my biggest money lessons from building 2 six-figure online businesses. Now, I'd love to take your questions, and I'd also love to encourage you to consider my biggest money story, which was this whole idea of investing in yourself in order to get skin in the game of your own life, like Ben Hardy says, and to do high quality work and to be invested in your own business and to show up for yourself, right? So in that vein, I'd love to invite you to check out Leave Your 9 to 5 Live, which is my group coaching program for people who want to get in or get out or stay out of their 9 to 5. We are starting in just a few days. If you're watching this live, there are 2 more days only to register before the cart closes and we all start. And if you like that idea of investing 10% of your income in yourself and getting a 100x return for every dollar that you invest, like Benjamin Hardy shared, and again, I will post that link in the comments after we get done. If you like that idea, if that idea excites you, Leave Your 9 to 5 Live might be the ticket for you because I've priced it super, super low. I'm going to be honest with you that I paid 2.5 times, I think 4 times as much for my very first group program as I'm charging for Leave Your 9 to 5 Live. It's not that it had more material. It's not that you got more support. It's that I want to make this accessible. I can charge whatever I want, right? Like I own my own business. This is such a good deal for what you get. So you get the very first week, we're diving into your money story, your mission, right? We're uncovering those blocks and we're also looking at how to strategically replace your income with a business that you love. So whether you're already out of a 9 to 5 or you're out of a 9 to 5 and wanting to replace your income so that you never have to go back, that's where we start. And now you get why, right? From having watched this. The other thing is, You get a weekly call with me every single week where you're going to get your questions answered. I keep this group size really, really small. The first program I was in had over 60 women, and we had a group call, but guess what? All of us were not getting our questions answered every week. Every single person who came to the call in the first round of Leave Your 9 to 5 got at least one question answered by me, in depth, and a lot of times more than one. And if you can't be on the call live, you can submit your question early ahead of time. I'll answer it live for you, and you're going to get the replay as soon as it's done. So you get that support every single week for 8 weeks. Plus, every single week for 8 weeks, you get an in-depth workbook that you can go do on your own between calls so that you can bring your questions to the call and get them answered by me. And you get weekly office hours in our private Facebook group where you can ask me a question and I'll answer that, right? So it's like having a one-on-one coach, but in a group setting where you also get that community and at a really low group program price, which is awesome. Plus, I have 4 guest experts for you, teaching you everything from value-centered sales, which is coming from Lacey Seitz, who is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to share her with you. Teaching you about how to sell in a non-pressure, non-salesy, non-achy way, right? I have Emily Benson, who a lot of you know. She is going to come on to share exclusively, only in my group program is she sharing this content, how to design your digital nomad dream lifestyle, if that's something that you dream of doing. Emily is a digital nomad with her boyfriend, Greg. They travel the world. And she's going to teach you how to do that too. You're also going to learn from my friend Ariana Sylvester, who is going to come in and talk about how to have a family life, a life with your friends and family while you're growing your business, how to do that, right? She's a mom of 2 young kids. She and her husband own several businesses. So she's going to come and talk to us about that. And then also my awesome colleague, Erin Monahan, is going to come in and talk about how to be happy now. Even though you might not have everything that you want, how to be happy now as you're growing your business and how that's actually going to help you grow your business faster. So all of these women, I'm bringing them in to talk about their zones of genius. And what it's going to look like is live calls and Q&A with them. We're not just uploading some pre-recorded trainings, right? You're going to get access to them in this really small group environment and get all of your questions answered in addition to hearing about their areas of expertise, right? There are even more bonuses, including the chance to practice getting visible in a very safe space with the women in this program with you and in an exclusive way, right? And then some additional self-study bonuses and courses and things along the way that I will surprise you with, because my goal is always to surprise and delight you. So Leave Your 9 to 5 Live is only open for 2 more days. The doors close Thursday night at 8:59 p.m. I want to be available to answer your questions until the doors close, until the cart closes, and I don't stay up very late. So 9 p.m. on Thursday night, and that's it. That's it for the year. And at this point, I don't have plans to offer it again. I just don't. I'm going to be, after the program wraps up, I'm going to be working on my book and getting that prepared for publishing and launch and book tour and etc. And so you can ask any of my clients. My goal is to be available to you and to be super, super supportive, whether you're working one-on-one with me or in a group setting. And so you're going to get this high-touch group program between now and the end of the year. And we wrap up with creating a 90-day plan for you so that the first quarter of 2018 is also figured out for you. You're very, very clear. You have a clear plan. And inside this program, you also have the accountability to carry it out. That's my goal for you. That's my desire for you. That's Leave Your 9 to 5 Live. I'm going to post a link to that in the caption and in the comments after we're done here so that you can get all the details. There's an installment plan. There is a pay in full plan. My goal is to make it as simple and clear and supportive for you as possible to leave your 9 to 5 and or to never have to go back if you're already out. Does anybody have questions about money, about debt, about investing in yourself to get a 100x return for every dollar that you spend, about how the number one thing to do if you want to become a multimillionaire is to invest 10% of your income in yourself. Drop those questions below before we wrap it up. Anything about this program, anything about money, debt, my biggest money lessons. And hey, if you're watching this on the replay and you think of a question, drop it. I'll come back and I'll answer it. Leave Your 9-to-5 Live is the best way that I can offer you to get support from me personally every week, twice a week at the lowest price point possible. Hi, Betta. Good to see you. And the women in the first round of this program got amazing results. Some of them got their first several clients. Some of them quit their jobs. Some of them finally got over the fear of trying to start a business they have been working on for literally 15 years. Some of them got, additional clients. Some of them got testimonials and figured out how to do that in a way that felt good for them. Some of them finally nailed and owned their niche. Some of them got visible. Like, you can use this program to do whatever it is that you want. Whatever it is that you feel like you need right now. So obviously all of these things are things that I work with my clients on. So use it. Use it however you want. You're going to have lifetime access to everything. And the thing is, the reason I get so excited about this, you guys, is because I know it's been life-changing. My lips are tingling just thinking about this. Like, I know that the support in the community that the women who went through the first round got was literally life-changing. Getting a little choked up. I don't cry that much. What's happening? What I do get emotional thinking about is how these women showed up for themselves and their dreams and the results that they got as a result of investing in themselves. And Leave Your 9-to-5 being the vehicle to do it, and having my support and having the weekly modules and having like all these high-level strategies that I've used with my one-on-one clients over the past 2+ years to help 70% of them who came to me in jobs to quit. Not to mention all the other ones that I helped to stay out because they came to me already out, right? And they didn't have to go back as the result of our work together. Leave Your 9-to-5 Live is only open for 2 more days. And so if this is something that's calling to you and you're telling yourself, no, I can't because, and money is the reason, go back and watch this. Go back and watch this video. See if you can identify with the beliefs that I grew up with. See if you can identify with holding yourself back and not giving yourself the things that you need because you're telling yourself you're wrong because of your current situation. I want to help you. I want to help you shift that. If you have questions and you don't want to ask them here, I'm also going to drop a link for 15-minute decision-making calls with me tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday before the program ends, or the opportunity to enroll ends. So I only have a few of those spots available, but if you want one, then grab one, please, because I want to help you with that. I want to help you with that. I want to help you decide whether or not this is right for you and answer your personal questions. So be sure to grab one of those, and I will drop that link as soon as this call ends. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me today. Sending you so much love. I hope to see you inside Leave Your 9-to-5 Live. I'd love to help you get over your fears. I'd love to support you in this way. I'd love to help you begin to shift things and grow your business to the level that you desire. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Mwah, 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 mwah. Lots of love. Have a great day. Bye.